Hi everyone, I'm Will Wright. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Spore. Now, I've always had this really kind of amazing fascination with science. And for me, ever since I was a kid, I really strongly associated science also with fun and creativity. One of my favorite toys as a kid was my chemistry set. And kind of the promise of my chemistry set was that, with my knowledge of science, limited as it was, and my fertile imagination, that I could make really cool things happen. Now, it turns out with a few simple to obtain pool chemicals, you actually can do this, but I won't go into that. Of course, today chemistry sets are so nerfed that you could probably eat all this stuff and it wouldn't make you sick. But still, for me, science, was something that you actually made stuff out of. Kind of my ideal thing that I always wanted, dreamed of having was the secret scientist laboratory, where you could sit there and make unspeakable things, and the flip of a switch, they would come alive and go out and terrorize the world, or whatever. Basically, science and creativity, I think, is this amazingly fertile intersection. And as we launch Spore, first the product, but then later the franchise, and hopefully eventually the brand, I want that brand to basically represent this kind of intersection of creativity and science. And when you think about it, science is a really powerful brand that no other entertainment property really is trying to grab. And I think the right way, the right umbrella for that, is to mix in the creativity, which brings this deeply personal kind of connection, makes it accessible and not academic. So part of our plans for Spore, as we're about to launch the game, was to first launch the Creature Creator that we did just a few weeks ago. And the results have actually been quite surprising. It's been basically at the top of the PC chart since it was released. We've also had over 2 million downloads from our website of the free version. We have a free version and a $10 retail version. And all of you get to walk away with the retail version today. And I encourage you to try it out because it's really amazingly fun. But really, one of the reasons why we wanted to release it early was because we knew that the collective power of players, when they get engaged in a creative endeavor, is just awe-inspiring. It's always surprised us, always just blown us away what players have been able to do when you give them the right tools. So what we were really hoping was that we would launch the Creature Creator first, and then by the time we released the game about 2 months later, that we would have a populated database of creatures to play in for Spore. So all the creatures that people make and upload to the server right now are going to be playable in the full retail version. Now, based upon what we saw with The Sims, we did things like The Sims Character Creator a few months ahead of time. And based upon those numbers, I was really hoping that we would get around 100,000 creatures uploaded by the day of launch in September. And maybe, if we were lucky, we might get 1 million by the end of the year. Instead, what happened is we hit 100K in about 22 hours. We passed 1 million in about a week. So it's just totally blown us away, kind of what players have done with this. And not only that, the numbers are just kind of blowing us away in that sense. Right now, we have somewhere close to 2 million. It's a little bit higher than this right now. And about a week ago, I realized we passed kind of a really interesting milestone, that the number of unique creatures that we have in our database online for Spore has now actually exceeded the total number of known species on Earth. So it's kind of interesting if you actually look at how long it took them to do it as well. So it took them basically 18 days to exceed the number of creatures on Earth. And by some counts, it took God about 7 days. So if we take these two numbers and divide them, we find out that our Spore fans right now currently represent 38% of God, right? So we had been thinking about this just in terms of pure numbers. And I started thinking about it a different way. Really our fans represent this engine of creativity. We need to figure out metrics, how we measure this. So we decided to call this 0.38 G. And this is a capital G to distinguish it from a small g for gravity. But if this trend holds up, I think by the date that we launch, we'll be at about 1 G for this creative engine that the fans are doing, and possibly up to 3 Gs by the end of the year. Now, not only the quantity, has kind of amazed us, but also what they've taught us about how to use our own tools. There are a lot of things that we want to do with the tools that we just decided we didn't have time to do, and so it's too bad the fans can't make robots with the stuff, the parts we give them, because we didn't give them robot parts. But the fans didn't seem to understand that. These are all creatures that were created by the fans that are currently on our website. Another thing we never showed in any of our demos were humans, because every time we tried to make a human, it just didn't look human at all. But yet the fans have made amazingly passable humans with our Creature Creator. We decided we couldn't do realistic creatures, which is why all of our demos showed these kind of fantasy-like creatures. But again, the fans just kind of blew us away with what they managed to do with this creator. Creepy things. The skeleton guy, our artists couldn't figure out how they made it. They made the torso disappear using some exploit that we decided to keep, because the fans were actually relying upon it. And then, they went even beyond creatures and decided they were going to use it to make anything they wanted to. Okay, so these are all made in the Creature Creator, and I can't wait to see what they do when they get the vehicle editor. Oh my gosh. And a lot of the stuff they make is actually just beautiful. When you see this stuff animated in the Spore world, moving around and kind of interacting with you, it's just, amazingly beautiful to see this stuff. Now, also, when people make stuff, they want to share it. One of the things that we put into Spore, in the Creature Creator as well, is the ability to directly upload stuff to YouTube. And, up to now, we have 85,000 videos uploaded. We also have a celebrity website, sporevote.com, where we have celebrities. And it's not so much that, we expect them to make really cool creatures, although a lot of them did. But it was more like if a celebrity can use this thing, anybody can use it, right? Actually, some of the stuff the celebrities made was pretty cool. David Lynch's, has this kind of creepy Patriot Act-like thing going on. Adam West had kind of narcissism in the name. Richard Branson's was having kind of a green thing. I don't know if it was an environmental green or money green. And Santana's creature was like totally the party animal of the group. But also, we have the science side of Spore. We developed over 200 prototypes, prototyping things like the astronomy in Spore, the evolution, gameplay, graphics, that all of a sudden we realized, maybe our fans would enjoy playing with these. So we've actually started putting these up on our website one a week for the fans to download and play with. And they're starting to have discussions over things like the gravitational theory in some of these prototypes. And so this is where we start kind of connecting the science to the game. So people that get really into the game get motivated to go out and start learning a little bit more about the science. We're pushing this in different directions as well. One of the things we did is we filmed a documentary with the National Geographic Channel. And we run around, interviewed a lot of scientists working in evolutionary biology. We had a lot of them come into our office and play Spore. And they use Spore kind of as the hub for explaining modern theories of evolutionary biology. And this is going to show the week that Spore ships on the National Geographic Channel. Plus, we're including the DVD in our Galactic edition of the game. We're also doing some stuff with the SETI Institute. One of the big inspirations for Spore was the SETI program. And this is stuff that we haven't really announced yet. But in the future, we're going to be working very closely because the original researchers in SETI, like Frank Drake and Jill Tarter, are still working there and still run the SETI Institute. And so that partnership is very exciting to me. But now, we're also hearing a lot of stories, people using the Creature Creator and learning a lot. Now, it's kind of dangerous to kind of listen to these stories and abstract out too much. We're always going to be measured against The Sims. This is like the bigger brother. People always ask me, do you think it'll be as accessible as The Sims? Will the mass market play Spore the way they adopted The Sims? And, we're just hearing stories now. And as I said, it's kind of dangerous to abstract from these stories. This is kind of a well-known quote, the plural of anecdote is not data. But yet, I'm hearing a lot of the same stories that I heard when we first shipped The Sims. Basically, somebody brings the Creature Creator home, it's a gamer, they start playing with it, then their wife, girlfriend, kid sees it, and this is the first time they've ever wanted to touch the computer, and they go in, and within a couple minutes, they're hooked. And so I think that bodes well for the accessibility of Spore, the creativity angle basically being the front door into people, for the science and the deeper kind of subjects that Spore's tackling. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to show you a quick trailer of how Spore looks right now. Thank you very much.